thinking, oh, we are live. Sweet. I'm going to run the intro.
Shut up and sit down.
Hey, what is up, everybody? Welcome to Dope and Dharma, and this is the Dharma Time edition of Dope and Dharma. And as always, I'm the Dharma Guy, and he is the Dope Doctor. What's up, man?
What's up, brother?
You look very relaxed today.
Oh, yeah?
Yes, you got your head on backwards. You're sloped down in the chair. You just like, did I wake you up from a nap or something?
Absolutely not. Absolutely not.
This looks like nap time for you. Anyway, what's up, everybody? Welcome to Dope and Dharma. Once again, this is the Dharma Time edition of it. We're trying out some new stuff. I don't know if you guys. So on Monday nights, we are live on radio. Was it terrestrial radio? For those of you who aren't in the know, that's the stuff on your dial. And we're on 1680 AM and 100.7 FM. And we tried out some new technology last night. I'm not gonna say it was unsuccessful, but it was a learning curve. And so it prompted us to try some new things. So at the moment, that's why you see a little duck up in our corner here. That will be gone soon, but we're just trying out some new things. And it'll give us a wider reach. So we can now start going live on our YouTube channel as well as our Facebook and various other places. So
and Trinity doesn't have to drive an hour, neither do I, to the radio station. We are looking for ways to not have to drive an hour to the radio station.
We are looking for ways of streamlining and making our lives easier. Right?
Here's what I thought, Trinity. We are no different than other people that we complain about. Says, man, people don't want to go to work anymore. They got used to working from home. Well, guess what?
Exactly.
We are those people now, Trinity.
Yeah. And let me tell you, it is phenomenal when it works. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah.
But it requires a lot of patience, hence the title of the show there. It does require a lot of patience to sift through.
Sure.
Yeah, let's just jump right into it. All right. So today's talk, we're gonna talk about patience, right?
Yeah.
And I gotta be honest, man, the things that you and I do together really are the things that test my patience the most. And what I mean by that,
I think you sound like my wife now.
No, I guess what I'm getting at is, and this is going to sound like a no-brainer for some people, but so my whole life growing up, I was one of those kids that everything I attempted to go do, I was relatively successful at. Like if I wanted to go play baseball, basketball, football, I was decent. I was good at like the things. So consequently, I don't like doing things I'm not good at. Right. So like my wife is always wanting to do like crafts and art and stuff. And we'll do this thing where it's like a paint and sip or something. Like you're supposed to drink wine. Not one of us drink, but we'll go and sit down and we'll do these painting things where the person's there and they have this thing that's painted and you're supposed to essentially duplicate that. Right. And so every time we go, my wife loves it. She's like painting like her, mural, her opus, if you will. And I'm over here struggling to make it look like that lady's picture. And if you squint your eyes and at a distance, it kind of looks like it. But for me personally, it doesn't look the way I want it to. So I started to get annoyed. I started to get frustrated. I started to get mad. Like, damn it, this doesn't look the way I want it to look. And so I don't like doing things I'm not good at. And so like the things that we are doing together is mostly technological based. And, neither one of us went to school. We didn't go to Full Sail and learn how to do all this technology. We're kind of learning on the fly. You went to school for CAT, not for technology.
Yeah, no, actually, I went to film school. I'm just a film school dropout.
Well, then you should be doing all this. But the point is like, I'm not well versed in a lot of it. I'm learning kind of on the fly. Thankfully, I feel like I'm an intelligent person. I can pick up quickly. But there's things that'll pop up that I just don't have answers to. And it gets frustrating when I don't like not knowing answers. I don't like. So yes, it requires a lot of patience in life.
Does.
So between my children and technology, my patience is tested on a daily basis.
So basically what you're saying, Trinity, is anybody that communicates with you.
Sure, I'll go with that.
Well, who else are you communicating with?
Well, I'm communicating with you. You don't test my patience that much.
No, but when we do it that much, when we do the show, when we do this stuff.
I mean, I like it. Don't get me wrong.
Here's what happened, people. For years, I've handled the engineering and stuff as well on the show. But the problem with that is I'm not as responsible in uploading as my man Trinity is. So when we found out that if he takes on that engineering responsibility and he can upload much faster, and therefore what we do actually means something, instead of me just being like, I've always depended on the guys, the producers in the studio,
Right.
at the radio stations or whatever, and just like, whatever they did, let them handle it. I don't handle that stuff. But in this new today's world where you have to podcast and you have to upload to YouTube and you have to do all these additional things, I mean, I'm just
Yeah.
not, I'm just not the one, you know.
Yeah.
So,
It's
so
definitely
I thought
stressful.
Trinity was the one. And so what I thought Trinity, when I thought Trinity was the one, what I didn't realize is with engineering comes other stuff that Trinity was not the one. Now he's great at uploading, but then when it comes to the technology of the actual apps and the streaming and all that stuff, poor
Well,
guy, man. So then his patience gets tried, and then you know,
well,
I think I
the
think we
crappy
found a
part,
solution.
the crappy part though, right, is as we found out when we talked to a colleague of ours, it changes like every day
Right,
almost. Like so, once
right,
you, all right, I got this, I wrap my head around it, I know what I'm doing, and then like
right,
a week later, okay, no, either here's
right,
a new tool or we change an existing tool. And you're like, what? And there's no
right,
like manuals. You kind of just literally have to figure it out as you go. Um, and so yeah,
right,
it's definitely frustrating, but
right.
I think we handle it well, right? Like my wife was laughing
I
at
think
us
so.
last night.
I
It
think
sounds
so.
like an Abbott and Costello routine, but um, I don't know, man. I definitely think as I've gotten older, um, my patience has expanded in some areas and
Right,
contracted in others.
right,
Right? Like there's certain things I have more patience for now, and other things I seem to have less patience. Like I have more patience for some of the people around me, I guess, like my kids, my wife, other things. Like I seem to have more patience and tolerance for um like the normal day-to-day things, I guess.
right,
But I've lost patience with difficult people, I should say.
right.
I want to use another term, but
See,
there's just certain individuals that like if it's just not connecting, like you try
right,
to simple things aren't connecting, I start to lose
right,
patience. And it's like,
yeah,
okay, like come on, man. Like I'll do it. The only thing I can equivalent it to is we all kind of know how to change the batteries in a remote for your TV.
mhm,
How long could we sit there and watch somebody screw that up and fumble around with it before we're like, just give it to me, I'll do it.
right,
Right.
right,
That's kind of where I've noticed as I've gotten older, I'm less patient with those kinds of things. Like
right.
I don't want to sit there for 45 minutes watching you fumble around with the remote. I could probably make it 3 or 4 minutes and then I'm like, I'll do it. Give it to me.
Yeah. Well, Richard Coleman on Facebook Live says, Trinity, remind me what you had patience with in the 5th grade. I'm trying to remember.
I don't remember either,
So I
man. That
think he's
was
calling BS on your
Yeah, I was
patience.
a delinquent in 5th grade. Only thing I
Right.
remember about 5th grade is I was in Miss Weiss's class, and we had DARE come in, the DARE program, and I remember
Mm-hmm.
myself and George Shock, there was a DARE box, and you would put little questions or suggestions.
Mm-hmm.
This is gonna be bad.
Oh
So
boy.
they it's not bad, but it's bad. It's not very Dharma Guy-ish, right?
Mhm.
So they worked hard on this box. It was like a customized box for the classroom. Well, him and I threw it away and we had we got in trouble for it, and then we had to remake. Our punishment was we had to remake a new box for the class or whatever. And
Yeah.
yes, it was Miss Weiss's class. Miss Weiss, oddly enough, is one of the only teachers that actually put me, um, uh, talked to me and said that I'm going to be a failure in life, and she would love to be a fly on the wall to watch how bad I fail.
Oh, well, let's call her up.
Yeah, I think she might be dead by now. I don't know,
No, let's
but
find her. I
that's how I
let's
remember Miss Weiss.
look, let's call her up, man. Let's find Mrs. White. Somebody
Yep.
give us the number to Mrs. White,
She
because if
was an
she said my boy
old
was gonna be
hippie.
that's fine. That old hippie's probably still alive eating organic fruit. And
Yeah,
so if she's
yeah.
still alive, then I would love to have a conversation with her about
She did it,
what
mind you, she did it in front of my mother. Like we were there for a parent teacher conference,
yeah, shame on her, man.
and she
Shame on her.
told me
See? And
to
you
my
defend
face in front of
teachers.
my. Well, I
And you
defend some
defend
teachers,
teachers.
some
Uh,
867. Nice,
yeah, that'd be
that's
funny
funny.
if that was her number.
That would be funny, actually. For
but
those of you who are not watching live, Richard commented the eight six
yeah.
seven five 309 for the
Yeah,
song.
By the way, that's what if you guys don't follow us on Facebook, Dope and Dharma on Facebook, you should, because the more you can interact with us while we're actually talking is the cool part. I love the people that interact with us
Absolutely.
while we do it. They make it more fun. Um, anyway, so Trinity, yeah, the patience with technology though is where I go.
Yeah.
But more so with the radio shows. If you've noticed, the stuff that I really, really get frustrated with about is sound quality.
Yes.
Sound quality to me is the number one thing that I know of that drives me nuts. And
And rightfully so.
for a
Rightfully so.
long time, I could not figure it out, man. There was just everything I did ever since COVID happened and I moved here to the house, it
Yeah.
wasn't working. It wasn't working. It wasn't working. Dude, I bought everything brand new just to make this damn work. Got the new Mac, the only thing standard, like if you remember, this is my microphone from the studio.
Yeah. Well, the
And
very first comment when we
look,
started today's
it's got
stream.
Robert. It's got Robert. Look,
Oh wow! Did you ask him
remember?
permission?
No,
You didn't ask
wait,
him.
wait.
You
Let me
didn't.
wait before showing him. Robert, do I have permission to show you on live stream?
Well, see,
Okay, I think he said yes. There's
you might
Robert.
have just, you might have just, you
You
know,
recognize Robert from the Ozzy Osbourne. They introduced me to him on their show, so I went and got myself a
sure.
Robert from down in the
Well, our
Keys.
very first comment today when we went live was from Leo Ryans, and he says, "Who is Louis? I can actually hear him."
Exactly.
So
Leo is the first one that always says, "Can't hear him."
yeah, so we can hear you now, and I do agree. Sound quality is you actually rubbed off on me on that one because I guess I just didn't. I don't know. I wasn't really into that world that much, and
You become a
so
sound snob.
yeah, I think you start to. What is that?
Well, you heard the way you sound now, right? With that new microphone that you have, that Yeti microphone.
Yes, yes, I do. Sounds
Tell me,
fantastic.
tell me that doesn't get addicted to saying that is the way I want to hear my
Yes,
voice.
absolutely, of course, of
Exactly.
course.
Exactly.
And what did it for me, to be honest with you, I remember the exact day. Um, I was driving down and I was listening to one of our shows that we did, and I turned it on in the truck. And your voice was like it was sitting right next to me in the passenger side. But when mine would come on, it was horrible. It was so bad. It was such a huge discrepancy between the two. It wasn't even like close. That was the day I
Horrible.
was like, "Wow, dude, microphones really matter."
It was all intentional,
Like
Trinity.
it was bad.
It was all intentional. No, no, no. Remember, but remember, that's why I bought you such a nice microphone at one time, and I installed it in
Yeah.
your chair at the studio. I said, I'm going to get this microphone for Trinity so that he too can have a really cool microphone. Because you really have to spend the money on really good mics.
Yeah.
Now, no, now with these podcasts, they you didn't have to spend that much money on that Yeti compared to what
Mm,
microphones really can cost.
about 100. Not too bad.
Because technology has also changed again. But for studio quality microphones, studio quality, yeah, you pay up there sometimes.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, this one's not that bad either. This is about that
Mm,
nowadays, because things have changed.
yeah,
But
but patience though, you know, eh, we as a society, dude, we don't really have patience, right? Think about it
no,
this way. Have you ever tried to like look up something on your phone, right? And you like Google something or whatever, and then as
yeah,
it's like loading, if it takes longer than like 6 seconds, you start to be like, what's taking so long? You know, like what
yes,
is this? Um,
yes,
yeah, dude, we used to have a card catalog, right?
right.
Like, we used to have to actually fumble through and go
The
looking through the
Dewey,
library.
the
Yeah, the
Dewey.
Dewey Decimal System, and like so the fact that we get upset now when it takes more than like a second to load something, I mean, that just shows as a society, dude, our patience has dwindled down to almost nothing.
Trinity.
Um,
And on top of that, even if you did search for something, if it's not on that first few lines, you start typing up new
yeah,
search words. I
yeah,
mean, it's not even. I mean, not only do you not have the patience to wait for it to download, you don't even. At least I don't. I don't even have the patience to scroll 3 or 4 pages in. I might go first 2 pages, but if you're not in the first 2 pages, bye bye.
yeah, yeah, same. Yeah, I think collectively. But what's interesting though is I think like my wife, dude, my wife has the most the biggest, not for me, but for my kids. She has like the most amount of patience I've ever like when we'll like she's an arts and craft person,
Yeah,
and so when we want to do arts and crafts with the kids, not as much now, but when they were real little.
yeah.
I don't know when the last time you tried to do arts and crafts with like a 6 and a 7-year-old.
No,
It is messy, it is disorganized, there is no flow to it. It's just literally like trying to herd cats.
It probably involved a gingerbread house during Christmas.
Yeah. Um, I last all of probably about like maybe 5 or 10 minutes before I'm like, okay, I can't do this because I'm very structured, right? I'm a very analytical
Yeah,
thinker, so I want
yeah,
things to be in an order, and we got to do this, and that's how my brain looks at it. So when it
right,
starts to go off the rails, I start to like, oh, it's almost like anxiety, I guess, right? It's almost like a no, this is not what you're supposed to be doing, and to
right,
where the kids they don't want to, they just want to get dirty and do things. Towards my wife, when that happens, she's just like, okay, yeah, that's cool. A little bit over here. Like she has so
right.
much patience. It's such a pleasant experience because of her patience.
Hmm.
So what I've learned in my years is like I don't do arts and crafts. Right? Like it's just when those things happen, I kind of take a hands-off approach. If they want me to participate, then I'm not trying to facilitate it. I'm just enjoying it with them.
So
I'm just
wait a
doing my
minute.
own little thing.
Wait a minute. Did you just simply say that instead of developing the patience necessary to accomplish something united with your loved one, just don't do it at all? Just
Yes.
give up.
No, I think I'd still do it. I just don't facilitate it anymore. See, when I'm in charge and I'm trying to run
Wait.
it and I'm trying to be the go-to,
Oh,
it I
oh,
can't. So
okay.
instead, I let her take the lead, and then I
You're the
just
participant.
yes,
You're the passenger.
yes. Because when I'm trying to be the driver of it,
Right.
I'm worried about are we getting it done? Does it look
Okay.
like a house? Are we doing it? And they're not. They're just trying to
Which
enjoy the experience.
which one would say that you actually use more patience by being a passenger? Because I know if I'm the passenger in a real car, I'm
Oh,
activating a hell of a lot of patience.
yeah.
Um, I mean,
I'm
look,
a bad passenger.
you and I have traveled together, and you were actually a very good passenger, but I knew that
Not
there
in
was
my
an
head, I wasn't.
anxiety. Yeah, in your head, you were struggling, and
Yes.
especially when we started racing all those cars, like,
Yes.
because full disclosure, I mean, we had a Hemi, right? We had
Yeah.
the
Well, we
Dodge.
gotta
I
use it.
think yeah, but we had a bad Challenger that they gave us, man. It was a pretty sweet Challenger, and the whole time, going up there, we did the right thing. We were, speed limit,
Sure.
cruise control, which is the right thing to do, right? But then coming back, it just we just happened to see a
Gotta test
Corvette
it. See
and a
what it feels like.
Mustang and another Challenger, and you started getting around these race cars all the way around us, and it was just like, let's test it, and then all of us at the same
Yeah.
time, all these hot rods from every manufacturer at the same time just went boom. We're gonna go 150 miles an hour, and it was
Right.
pretty badass. So,
Yeah.
but
Um,
you did really well. I mean, I guess
yeah,
what I'm
not
saying is,
inwardly.
I applaud you at least for externally not exhibiting the lack of patience that I'm sure you had internally.
Yeah, and full disclosure, the reason why is because when it comes to that kind of stuff, I'm a control freak, and
Right.
I've had some pretty bad accidents in the past where I swear every car, when I'm not driving, every car is 100 times closer than it really is.
Yeah.
We're going faster than we are. It all is magnified to
Right.
such an intensity to where I just nope. So I've learned over the years to just go with the flow, man. Just accept it. I don't try to not feel that way. I think that's the big thing when it comes to like anxiety, for instance.
Yeah.
I know where this is a patience episode, but if I could touch on anxiety, because I think part of patience is learning how to deal with your anxiety, right?
Right. Right.
Um, the anxiety that I would feel it's very intense, right? Because
Yeah.
I'm reliving uh, the first accident I had was I flipped my car 4 times, 20 feet in the air. Like that was a bad accident. Um, and the other one, like shortly after that, I was making a U-turn and a drunk driver came by and like head on collision. So now if I'm driving, I'll check like 5 or 6 times. If I'm gonna make a U-turn or a turn, I'll check like a lot. Even if there's nobody coming, it doesn't matter. That little alarm will go off in my head as you're gonna get hit, and I'll look and I'll go. But if I'm not driving, the person with you're either going way too fast, you're going way too slow, you're too close to that car. It's a million things at once. And what I've learned is the
Right.
more I tried to fight it and push it away and not feel it, the worse it got. So instead, if I'm going to be a passenger, I just accept the fact that that's going to be with me. I'm going
Right.
to feel anxiety. I'm going to feel nervous, and I don't fight it. I just let them come, and then it goes away. Right? It's impermanent. I know it's going to come and it's going to go away. So the less I fight it, the easier it is to deal with. I just accept the fact that it's just a part of this ride. It's going to be there. It's no big deal. I get along with it. And then, I mean, it took me over a decade to get to that point, though.
Right. Right.
But I did eventually. And now, if the person is driving, they'll probably, if I didn't tell them, they would never know that I'm freaking out right now, like in a
No,
major way.
you did really well.
Yeah, not internally though. Internally, I was
Yeah,
freaking out the entire time.
right.
But
Yeah, but patience is definitely important. I mean, I
I
think
think
that
yeah,
um like in relationships. I mean, you brought up that Angel has a tremendous amount of patience for the kids, but maybe not so much for you. Well, Dana's no different.
yeah,
But I'm no different
and it's
with
probably the
her.
same with me. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's probably the same with me.
yeah, I'm no different with her. I mean, I really lack a lot of patience when it comes to the closer the inner circle, the less patience I have
Yeah,
for
yeah,
what you do. To be honest with you, I mean,
I would
that's how
agree.
you know I. This is how you know I care about you. If you like color outside the lines and it bothers me, that means I give a shit.
Right.
Because if I don't, you can do whatever you want. I really don't care.
Yeah,
I really let people live unless you're in my truer inner circle. Then I struggle with that a little bit.
yeah, yeah, I would agree with that. Yeah, like I said, I was joking about Angel, but I'm positive she would say the same about me. Um, because it's like you said, I'm emotionally invested now. Like I
Right,
care. Not that that's an excuse, right? It's just an observation. It's just a
right,
factual thing.
right.
Because of my attachment to her, it's harder for me to have that patience. But it's not her. It's my attachment to her.
Yeah. What do you think that is when you say the attachment? What do you think it is?
Well, we're attached to outcomes, right? Like when it comes to
Right,
spirituality, that's what causes our
mhm,
suffering is our
right,
attachment.
right,
We think of how things should be as opposed to how things are.
right.
And in relationships, that is literally the hardest thing to do it in, right? Like we could do it in a multitude of different areas of our
Mhm,
life with ease, but then we'll go
mhm,
home in our interpersonal relationships. It's like a
right.
dumpster fire. Um, because
But why do you
like
think
I've,
it's more? Why do you think it's more uh, highlighted with the relationship? The closer you are in the relationship.
um, I would say it's because once again, we're connected. Like I'm invested in her impressions of me. Like she has more power and more ability to
Okay.
hurt me than anybody else out there. I'm more
Right.
vulnerable with her,
Right.
both feeling and aware, right? Like I
Right.
feel more vulnerable with her, and I'm
Yeah.
aware I'm a more vulnerable with her. Like
Yeah.
nobody on this earth could hurt me the way she does. On the flip side of that, nobody
Right.
can make me feel as good as she does either. Right?
Right.
Like her admiration and baby, if you listen to this, like turn it up.
You know damn well she's not gonna ever
I
listen to
know
this
she's
show, man. You
never
can
gonna
say
listen
anything
to it.
you want,
Well, what's
man.
weird is I don't know about Dana, but Angel, it's almost like she doesn't believe me, right?
Right.
Like she views me as this like this large statured individual that is like
Right.
this rock or whatever. And I keep trying to
Right.
explain to her, I was like, to the world, yeah. But when I come home, like, dude, you can hurt me. And I need your like
Right. That's
love.
cute.
Like,
That's
well, it's
cute,
true.
man.
But
It
it's
is
true.
true. It is true.
When I come home, like I need her approval. I need her affection.
Yeah.
I need her love. Like that's part of the deal here.
I think Dana
Um,
thinks my gun is always loaded. I'm like, no, sometimes I'm not. Yeah,
right.
I'm not. Sometimes I'm not shooting anybody, Dana, and I'm not trying to
Yeah.
shoot you either. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? No, seriously, I think she's always thinking that for some reason that that she takes every word I say, kind of like make stories out of what I say. Like where I'm a very literal person, Dana's not as literal. Dana creates stories, and I listen to every word she says, and so I take every word she says as a fact.
Yeah.
So she can hurt me with the exact word she says, and to her, I feel like she hurts herself with the stories she creates in her mind. I'm like, I didn't say that at all. What story
Yeah.
was that about? Like that's not
Yeah.
where I
I
was
get
going
in
with it.
trouble all the time for like my tone, or I get in trouble with my like my delivery essentially.
Okay,
Um, and well, you and I both have struggled with that, but apparently you're way better at it than I am. I'm trying to get there,
I
but
don't know, I don't know about that, brother. What's your tone? What did she say about your tone?
um, just mean basically, or like
No,
just I'm trying to think of the word. It's just mean spirited basically. It's just whatever the exact opposite to my head. That's the tone that she hears, right? Like
right,
I'll there's many times where I'll say something, thinking in
right,
my head like, all right, this is a good thing. I'm just explaining to her, and
yeah,
then what she repeats back to me, what she heard was like, what? Like, how did you hear that? No, I
yeah.
didn't say that.
I
And then
feel
I'm getting
you.
in, but then I'm not only I'm getting in trouble now
Right.
for something I didn't,
Yes.
how I didn't know, like what? And so yes, it causes, and in those moments, I've gotten better over the years, and I hope to continue to get better at
Yeah.
my
Yeah.
patience in knowing that she's coming from a certain, you know, we all carry wounds, right? We all carry our history on us
Yeah.
that skews how we view things.
Yeah.
And so sometimes I want to get better at looking at her as a hurt person trying to hurt another, right? I don't always do that, but that's where my patience comes. I need to get more patient as I've gotten older. I've gotten better, but I want to continue to grow, as I said. But that's part of it, is understanding that the person talking to you is coming from their own lens, and you have to respect that.
Yeah.
And it's not as easy to hear that when you're so emotionally invested in something and you're maybe sensitive about certain things, and then they're touching those little buttons. You got to have some patience. And
Right.
and some days I'm better than others, as with everybody, I'm sure.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know, man. It's just, I think my issue is that there's very few people on earth that really, really care 100% of how they view me and my intentions, right?
Right.
And she's one of them.
Of
That
course.
however she views me, it bothers me when it's not correct. And when I mean by
Sure.
not correct, it's just really wrong. It's based on, we all have our own stuff, right? I
Yep.
got my own stuff. She's got her own stuff. Everybody's got their own stuff. But
Yep.
when your stuff changes what the other person is saying and doing, I really think we need to look at our own stuff a little bit more. It's just like, look, do
Right.
you not hear the words that are coming out of my mouth? Right? It's like, I was very intentional on the words that I use. Now, I also my tone, but I know when I do it for real. Like, so I don't get upset. Like, if you say my tone is aggressive when I'm being aggressive, I feel you. But
Sure.
when you're being aggressive to me and I'm the calm one and you're telling me I'm aggressive, I'm like, oh, don't flip that script on me now, because everybody could be aggressive. Everybody
Right.
has the potential of being aggressive. Everybody has the potential for being sarcastic. Everyone has the potential for being rude and all that stuff. And I think it flip flops, man. I don't think either person is 100% a
No.
certain way. But, I think where I have to develop more patience, Trinity, is hearing long drawn out stories of past arguments that for some reason I must have won them back then because they're still being fought. So I must have won those arguments back then, because why are they being brought up now? They're being brought up now because that person lost. Because when you win, you don't have to bring up the past argument. It's like, did it, conquered it, I'm moved on. But losers tend to bring up the old arguments a lot.
Right.
Because like I'm still fighting. You know what I mean? Like, there's a reason that there's still people out there with the stickers that says the South will rise again. Like,
Right.
it's not over. That pocket of people, you're never gonna
Nope.
prove to them or show them or change them or anything like that. But you have to just simply accept your losses. And so what I would say to anyone in my close circle, please just accept the loss. You lost. Louis won.
Wow.
I won. Just accept the loss, and then I can work on my patience a lot more.
It's they really need to change. Like, that's what I'm hearing.
That's
Um,
what you're hearing, Trinity, because that's the truth, Trinity.
sure.
The
That's
people
the truth
around
as
me
you
need
see
to
it.
change. The people around me need to change. I am okay and perfect, because that's what television tells me. Television told me it's okay to not be okay, and since I'm not okay a lot, I'm really okay.
That's
I
right.
identify as okay. I
I was
identify
just
as
about to say
correct.
that.
I
Yeah.
identify as being right. Therefore, you have to change, not me, Trinity.
It works
Take
for
note of
them, works
that.
for me.
Write that down.
That's right, man. It works for them, it works for me, right?
Right.
But yeah, I think that patience really does. What's helped me most of my journey on patience is
Right.
just accepting things for what they are, not what I want them to be. Like,
Yeah.
that is this mentality of it should be. That is such a brutal thing, man.
Mm.
Um, Almost. I don't know percentage. Just a large percentage of when people come to me, be it my kids or I see people complaining about it on Facebook or even myself. To be honest with you, um, a lot of the conflict really comes from what we think it should have been. The
Oh,
person didn't say
absolutely.
what we think they should have said. They didn't do what we think they should have done. And instead of just accepting that, you know what, all right, I didn't have a magic wand. That's what happened. What was meant to happen is what happened because we all kind of did what we did. And accept it. I don't Now, once again, acceptance and agreement are two different things.
Right.
You don't have to agree with somebody to accept it,
Right.
but you have to accept that that's where they're coming from and they have a right to think and feel that way. Or whatever situation it was, you might not be happy with it, but that's how it happened. And now
Right.
we have to respond to it.
Right.
Um, But I think that's the part that gets us in the most trouble, is this unwillingness to just accept it for what it is. We
Y-
can't
y-
shake this idea of what it should have been.
right. And I'm going to
It
add
could have
to
been a
that.
contender, you know.
I'm gonna add to, speaking of contenders, congratulations, champ. Pinklin Thomas just got into the National Boxing Hall of Fame 2022 class with Sugar Ray Leonard. So congratulations, brother.
Right on, man.
He's out in LA getting that. He's probably flying home today or something. But congratulations to him. But no, what I was gonna say is, on top of that, is accepting that today is today. Because if you're so busy, because as a counselor, constantly, I mean, conversations with patients and clients that are thinking about and reacting still this very moment of days past, things
Yeah.
that have already happened. And so some of that acceptance is not only accepting the reality that it is what it is, right? That it happened, but that today is not the day that's going to change anything about that other than your
Right.
processing.
Yeah.
Your processing and your perspective may change today, but the actual what happened already occurred. Now, if you would like to change how you view what occurred, we can do something about that. If you want to learn from the occurrence so it doesn't happen again, then we could do something about that. But if you're simply wanting someone to agree with you about what occurred, and you just simply want to retell it and retell it and retell it, and you want everyone to see it the way you saw it, then you're not going to grow from that event. You're not going to grow from retelling it. You're only going to grow from retelling it if you're willing to look at it from different angles. And I think that's the key, right? It's like, if you're putting together a puzzle, do you keep on just trying to put in a puzzle piece where it doesn't fit? Or do you turn the puzzle piece, try it that way, turn the puzzle piece, try it the other way, and then maybe put it aside and maybe I'll look at you later. This puzzle piece right now doesn't fit where I'm currently working with, so I'm going to set you aside and I'm going to deal with you later. That is life.
Yeah.
If the puzzle piece is not fitting, you don't try to force it. You re-angle it, look at it different ways, twist it around, whatever you got to do, or just set it aside, and maybe it's an issue for another day. Maybe it's just not today's issue.
Right. Yeah, it's funny you should say about living in the moment, because I literally just did a reel about that, and it was
Okay.
anxiety is about the future. It said be present, because anxiety is about the future, and anger is about the past. So
Right.
be in the present moment.
Right.
Um,
I agree with that.
yeah, that is extremely important, man. It really is. Um, because how many arguments have we all been in where we're arguing about something that has happened, or we're anxious about something that may or may not happen, right?
Right. Right.
There's another quote. I don't have it in front of me, so I'm going to butcher it, I'm sure, but it was basically like
Right.
I spent a lot of my time worrying about things that never happened, or something like
Mm.
that. I can't remember. I'll look it up for a future show. It's like, because it's a great quote, but it's true, right? Like, think of all the things that we've spent our lives worrying and anxious about. How many of them actually happen? Like, very few of them. The percentage is
Right.
not good. You know,
Right.
um, but yeah, I think that I think patience is an underrated thing, right? And then the problem with patience, I remember when I was a kid, I wanted patience so bad, like right now, which is the opposite of patience. Patience does come with time. Like, you're not going to be patient tomorrow. If you're not a patient person, you can't just, oh, I'm going to get it tomorrow. That's literally the definition of impatient.
Right.
It takes time. It's like water. Carved the Grand Canyon. It's a very powerful force, but it did it slowly over time.
Mhm.
That's how
Right.
patience works. You patience, man. It's just
Mhm.
you work at being a little bit better at it today than you were yesterday. If you just
Mhm.
keep doing that, eventually you'll look back and you'll come
That's
a
it.
long ways, and it gets easier and easier and easier. That's also why a lot of people in their older age start to get more and more patient, because we've been around a
Yeah.
while. We get it.
And then that sentence comes out. Yeah, but I shouldn't have to. There goes that should have again. Then.
Yeah, should
Yeah.
have. That's the bane of my
Mm.
existence, man. What should
Oh,
be.
brother, I've had more sessions on the word should have
Yeah.
than probably most words.
Yep. Shoulda, woulda,
Mm-hmm.
coulda.
Mm-hmm.
But
Mm-hmm.
anyways, what's your? Don't you have a hard stop coming up for the? You have an appointment or something, or a meeting?
Yeah. Yeah. I have a person that needs some help at 3 o'clock,
That's
3 p.m.
2:58.
Eastern
So
time. We've got
we
two
have.
minutes.
You got any final words you want to put out there on patience?
I'm very patient with these last 2 minutes, Trinity. I'm just sitting back, and
Sure.
how these minutes can happen however they wish to happen, and then and then they're gone.
Gotta be what it is.
Never to be seen again because I don't watch the show or listen to our own show.
Yeah, I don't. Yeah, the only show I listened to was the one we did last night, and I did that enough to realize I didn't want to post it.
Enough to know that we're throwing away that Ecamm, and I'm done with Ecamm. We're going to StreamYard.
You should be the happiest individual on the planet right now.
I am.
Because you have been obsessed with getting rid of it, and
because I think it sucks.
I'm going to assume, based upon how smoothly this has gone, that Ecamm is a thing of the past for us.
Ecamm sucks. I don't care.
So
bye Ecamm. Bye Ecamm. This is no commercial for Ecamm. Bye Ecamm.
No.
StreamYard, welcome Affleck Duck or whatever the hell that is. That's a duck.
Well,
right?
he's going to be gone too. So
yeah,
I think it's a duck. Yeah. But yeah, so my final words would just be, patience, man. It really is. It's paramount importance, and it only comes with acceptance. It comes with allowing it to be what it is, as he was just alluding to, and it comes with time. It's not something you can rush. It's not something you can snap your fingers and have it happen tomorrow. It comes with just slowly accepting things for what they are, not for where you want them to be. It's really what it revolves around to. But anyways, now that we said all that, quick housekeeping. As you can see on the bottom, you can follow us both on social media. He is at the Dope Doctor. I am at the Dharma Guy. We together at Dope and Dharma. If you want to follow us on Facebook to catch any of our stuff that we post, you can check us out there. If you type in Dope and Dharma, they might give you a bunch of hurdles to jump through. So the fastest and easiest way would be to type in facebook.com/WPSN99. And then you can be updated on all of our future shows and postings and things of that nature. We're looking to be a lot more active in the coming months. So hopefully you'll see a lot more of us. So anyways, that's all we got. And that's it. So now that you know better, do better.